Dr. Miranda, we also have our sign language interpreters lined up and ready to go as well.
Okay, thank you. That sounds great.
For new or online attendees, we are still waiting a few minutes for our board president and some other board members to arrive. Thank you. Mrs. Harlow, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. We are waiting a few minutes. Board President, Mr. Flores, is running a few minutes late.
Shane, we're still also waiting for Mr. Bray, who is our facilitator for tonight. So I just talked to him, so he's about to log on.
Thank you, sir. And Mrs. Sandoval and Mr. Ibarra have also joined us. Dr. Miranda, our board president, Mr. Flores, has just joined us as well. So we're just waiting for Mr. Bray to join now.
Yeah, I'm trying to work with them to get him logged on right now. If you give me a couple minutes.
Says join the meeting.
Mr. Bray, are you able to hear me? You may need to unmute your microphone, sir.
Second. Alrighty. Can you hear me?
There we are. Yes, sir. Thank you. And Mr. Bray, we are doing audio only. I see that you have your camera on, which is fine, but I'm the only one that can see you, so you may just want to turn your camera off. You can leave it on though; it's fine as well.
Is it, if I leave it on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I'll be presenting today to the board.
Yes.
Hey, Dick.
Hey, hi there.
Hi there. Okay, so Dan, Mr. Flores, we're ready. We're ready when you are, sir.
Okay, I think we're ready. Those of us here in the chambers are ready. We've got you guys logged in. So we will go ahead and officially call this meeting to order. This is the special meeting of the Colton Joint Unified School District Board of Education today, August 24th. We'll start as we do every meeting with a roll call, and I'll ask Ms. Medina to go ahead and take roll call attendance for those in chambers and also those online.
Miss Sandoval? Mr. Fuentes?
Present.
Mr. Flores?
Present.
Mr. Ibarra?
Present.
And for the board members joining virtually, Ms. Doreen Ojeda?
Here.
Ms. Adigin?
Here.
Mrs. Haro? Mrs. Haro?
Here.
Thank you.
Here.
Great. All right. Sounds like we are all here and in attendance. Let's go ahead and do our renewal, the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm just going to ask a staff member, Ms. Orloff, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you for that, Katie. We appreciate it. I'm going to try to speak up because my mask is a little thicker than usual, so I feel like it's muffling the sound. And just a reminder to all the board members in chambers, please speak into the microphone so that the folks at home can hear us. We've got not only our board members attending virtually, but I believe Dr. Miranda is on the line, as well as our presenters, facilitators for this afternoon's meeting. And of course, we have Mr. Jensen, who is still serving in that acting superintendent role here in the chambers. So with that, we'll move on to item 1.3. This is the adoption of the agenda for tonight's meeting. It's listed here that there are no amendments. Just want to confirm, Mr. Jensen, are there no recommended changes or amendments to the agenda? All right, so we'll ask if we can adopt the agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Board Member Fuentes,
Second.
second by Board Member Ibarra. So I will ask for a roll call vote.
Mrs. Sandoval? Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Ibarra?
Yes.
Mr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Doreen Ojeda?
Yes.
Ms. Adigin?
Yes.
Mrs. Haro?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. The agenda is approved unanimously. That takes us to item 2.0, or public comment for this afternoon's meeting. Ms. Medina, do we have any public comment speaker slips?
No, we do not.
We will go ahead and close public comment, and that takes us to item 3.0, our board self-evaluation. So at this time, I believe Mr. Bray is on the line, if I'm not mistaken, and or Dr. Miranda. I didn't know if you wanted to tee off, but I'm happy to turn it over to staff for the board self-evaluation.
I do, Mr. Flores, just really briefly, I wanted to, first of all, thank Mr. Bray for being here this evening. Of course, first of all, and most importantly, the Board of Education, and give the board their thanks for this opportunity to have Mr. Bray here, who is our district governance advisor. And so he works, as the board knows and for the public, probably a good idea to note with the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. And so he is facilitating tonight the board self-evaluation that we do on an annual basis publicly. So of course, a little bit unorthodox since we're doing sort of a hybrid tonight with some board members and myself and Mr. Bray doing it virtually and then some in person. So just with that, again, really want to thank the board for giving us this opportunity to listen. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Bray, who will do the analysis and the reporting and the facilitation of a discussion. Dick, I will turn it over to you at this point.
Frank, thank you very much. Well, board, it's nice to come together with you again. I wish we were all together in the same room, and hopefully in the near future we can do that. But thank you for having me come to you tonight through WebEx. I sure appreciate it, and it's just good to be with you tonight. We're not supposed to have favorites, but I think I've told you before, I really enjoy working with you folks. You're a wonderful board, and you already have the self-study report. And let me just say, just off the top, it really showed that you're a veteran board and very united in your outlooks. And just as a reminder, it's the assessment document had 42 governance indicators, and they were grouped into 7 categories. And the 7 categories were board superintendent relations, board meetings, board community relations, board qualities, board in-service, policy development, and goal setting and planning. Those were the 7. And we ask you to rate all those 42 indicators on a scale of 1 to 4. 1 was never, 2 was seldom, 3 was often, and 4 was always. Most of your ratings were in the 3 to 4 range, which is really, really good. And also, we look for the spread of the different ratings within each governance indicator. And there was not a real big spread. I'll go over the ones where there was a little bit of a spread, and we'll take a look at those specifically. But by and large, everybody was really together with rating each of the 42 and heavily in the 3s and 4s, which is often and always. Let's take a look now at each section, if we could. Down to close to the bottom of the first page, I've got the seven categories listed, and their average scores. So, for instance, for board superintendent relations, out to the side you see 3.65. That's really high. So let's go over that first one together real quickly. All 10 indicators in section 1, board superintendent relations, there were actually 10 indicators, governance indicators. And in all 10 indicators, board members rated it either a 3 or a 4. For instance, in the first one, promptly communicates all expectations, compliments, concerns, or criticisms of the school system to the superintendent. You had 4 that marked 3s and 3 that chose to rate it as a 4, or a 3.42 average on that one, on that particular one. And number 2, I'm sorry. And let me also indicate the comments real quickly for each one. For number 1, under section 1, we had 2 comments. The first was, communication is improving. It may help to discuss points of contact for various issues. And the second was, as keeper of the moral imperative, the mission, vision, and strategic goals, the board's primary job is to keep the governance focus on accomplishing the district's strategic direction. After this unprecedented year, it may be necessary to revisit our responsibilities with the superintendent and come to an agreement as to what our focus is and clarify what is strategic and what is tactical. Question 2 was, avoids infringing on the superintendent's area of responsibility. There we had 5 board members that rated that a 3 and 2 that rated it a 4 for a 3.28 average on that one. And we had 2 comments also on this one. There is a need to allow the superintendent to make his recommendation and to justify them before he is criticized. And 2, due to uneasy feelings regarding cleanliness and readiness of schools, prompted some board members to individually visit sites to see for themselves. I can understand that this can erode confidence in the overall administration of the district. It would be best to discuss strategies that reinforce openness, teamwork, and trust. Indicator number 3 in this section is follows agreed upon procedures in communicating with the staff. There were 4 board members that rated this a 3 and 2 that marked it a 4. Again, 2 comments. The first, personal relationships with staff can make it tricky, but it's important to follow protocol. And the second, as a rule, the board does follow procedures. However, due to the pandemic and preparing sites for the return of students and staff, some board members felt it necessary to visit sites to see for themselves without informing the superintendent. The 4th indicator in section 1 is avoids publicly criticizing the superintendent. We had 2 folks that voted 3 and 5 board members voted 4, and there were no comments. The 5th one was encourages the superintendent's participation in professional association and activities. We had 1, 3, and 6 4s on that one. And 1 comment, superintendent's participation in professional associations such as AXA, CAASA, CALSA is critical. His participation in the SBCSS Leadership Network, Leadership Associates, and NISL EDP allows him to network with other superintendents and experts in the educational field. And number 6 demonstrates respect towards superintendent members, members of cabinet and district staff. We had 1, 3, and 6 4s on that one, rated very high. No comments. Number 7 places trust in the superintendent and in the integrity of the superintendent, cabinet, and staff. We had 4 3s and 3 4s. We had 4 comments on this one. The first was overall yes, however, some issues have surfaced that may need attention. 2, HR hiring process, why internal candidates are scoring overwhelmingly lower than external candidates in the interview process. 3, There are some concerns with some departments within the district that merit attention and discussion to collaboratively come up with resolutions. And 4, work not completed at school sites in preparation for 2021-22. Number 8, provides through policy a clear set of expectations of performance and personal qualities against which the superintendent will be measured. Again, we had 1 3 and 6 4s. One comment, always room to improve here, and it may be time to reevaluate district priorities. Number 9, evaluates the superintendent annually. All 7 board members gave this a 4, and there were no comments. Number 10, maintains a professional compensation package for the superintendent. There was 1 3 and 6 4s, and no comments. The next section is board meetings. The average on this one was 3.83, very high. All of the indicators were rated either a 3 or a 4 by board members, which is really high. And again, you were really all together on how you viewed these indicators. The first indicator of section 2 is conducts all board meetings efficiently and effectively. 1 3 and 6 4s on that one. One comment, board meetings have been very long of late, but that is mostly due to difficult topics. Oh, it's no fool. Oh, I'm sorry, there were 2 other comments also on that one. The pandemic made virtual meetings necessary. The meetings were well run. And the third comment was, the board president leads the meetings with confidence and a clear focus. He efficiently allows for dialogue, always following protocols. The second indicator was provides opportunities for public participation in board meetings and sets clearly defined procedures for community members to address the board. And all 7 of you rated that as a 4. There were no comments. Number 3, maintains and follows procedures for developing the agenda and getting materials to board members in advance of meetings as agreed upon between the board and the superintendent. Once again, you all rated that a 4, and 2 comments. The first, since the structure of the board meeting is key to the strategic focus, how do we maintain it on the work of the district? And 2, when board meetings are structured mainly around operational issues and areas that are administrative in nature, we as a board do not have time to stay focused on academic programs and have strategic discussions, which is our primary responsibility. Indicator number 4, makes a sincere effort to be informed on all agenda items prior to meetings. We had 2 3s and 5 4s. We had 4 comments. Superintendent always checks in with the board prior to board meetings to clarify all questions and concerns. Can routine housekeeping type board issues be structured to take minimal time so we can get to the important strategic instruction? The third comment, how do we keep our board meetings focused on student achievement? And the fourth, how can our conversations stay focused on our primary responsibility? The fifth item in section 2 is adheres to its adopted code of ethics. Here the board rated this one with 3 3s and 4 4s. No comments. The third section is board community relations. And once again, you were very much together on this section. All of the indicators were rated with 3s and 4s. The first avoids committing to a position or an issue before all relevant facts are presented. We had 3 3s and 4 4s. No comments. 2, allows for citizen input through public hearings, advisory committees, etc. Again, 3 3s and 4 4s. We had 1 comment. The goal is to promote parent-community engagement in the educational process and to increase the opportunities for active input in decision-making. I'm sorry, there were 2 others also on this one. The second was, I have some concerns on how members of the public are selected on expressing issues. And the third one, Community Cabinet is a great platform to reach out to the community to build a strong base of support for our educational program. They're always willing to help our schools, and it's important to be clear on our expectations and make these meetings purposeful and productive. The third indicator supports the president in his or her role as a spokesperson for the board. All 7 board members rated that a 4. 1 comment, the board president is proactive in being the spokesperson when issues arrive. He is always confident, strategic, and well-informed. Indicator 4, disseminates information to the public following established procedures. There were 4 3 ratings and 3 4 ratings. 1 comment, we need to create a site to share board meeting updates with the community. And the last one in this section, number 5, strives to maintain an open dialogue with governmental and community leaders. Here the ratings were 2 3s and 5 4s. The board communicates, that 1 comment, the board communicates with the 3 communities we serve, Grand Terrace, Bloomington, and Colton. There is always room for improvement in this area. The next section, section 4, is board qualities. Again, the average rating for this section was just excellent, 3.62. And as we looked at this one, we noticed that, gosh, all 3s and 4s, except for 1 indicator which received 2 ratings. The first one in this section is displays a sincere and unselfish interest in students and contributes to their education and growth. All 7 board members rated that a 4 with no comments. Number 2, possesses knowledge of the educational process and the needs of the community. Here we had 4 3s and 3 4s, and we had 3 comments. As things change quickly due to COVID, this becomes a challenge. The second one, do we have a deep understanding of our strategic goals? And 3, do we have clearly stated key educational goals? The third one, and this is one where there was a little wider spread on the scores. The indicator is strives to improve boardsmanship skills by conducting special board workshops and participating in local and regional conferences. We had 2 board members that scored this a 2, 1 that scored it a 3, and 4 that scored it a 4. We had 3 comments. The first, this is difficult due to COVID. 2, Through structured workshops on key topics, the board can stay informed, focused, and engaged. More workshops would greatly improve our governance. And the third, it would greatly benefit us if we can have discussion meetings to develop a shared understanding and reinforcement of positive governance procedures and processes. Number 4 in this in the indicators is weighs all decisions in terms of what is best for the students of the district. Board members rated this 2 with a 3 rating and 5 with a 4 rating and no comments. Indicator 5 is visible in the community. 5 board members rated this a 3 and 2 board members rated it a 4. 2 comments. Thank you to board members who attend functions throughout the year. It is my goal to visit more classrooms this year to observe firsthand the educational programs we have in place. Second comment, some more than others. Pandemic reduced opportunities greatly. Number 6 in this section, respects fellow individual board members and their decisions. All 7 board members rated this a 4. No comments. Number 7, trusts fellow individual board members. 3 board members rated this a 3 and 4 board members rated it a 4. No comments. Number 8 is independent and open-minded. 3 board members rated this a 3 and 4 members rated it a 4. No comments. Number 9, keeps confidential matters confidential. Here we had 2 board members that rated this a 3 and 5 of you rated it a 4. 1 comment. At times, it appears some board members have more information than others. The 5th section is board in-service. Here we saw a little more variability, a little more spread in the scores, but still, all turned out to be 3 or higher in the scoring, which again is just really strong. So the first one in board in-service, it says, keeps informed by seeking and reading current literature. We had 1 board member rate this a 2, 3 board members rated it a 3, and 3 board members rated it 4. 2 comments. Very important to do this individually and as a group and be able to hold discussions to learn from each other. And the second, board correspondence is primary tool for current information, not sure professional development of all members. The second indicator in this section is keeps abreast of educational issues by attending educational workshops and conferences at the local, regional, and national levels. We had 1 board member that rated this a 1, 4 board members that rated it a 3, and 2 board members that rated it a 4. We had 2 comments. I have not been able to attend due to COVID. And with things changing so rapidly, it's crucial that we stay informed. The third indicator strives towards growth through a planned board in-service program with the help of the superintendent. Here, 2 board members rated this a 2, 2 board members rated it 3, and 3 board members rated this a 4. 2 comments. The first, not as much because of COVID. And a planned board in-service program would be very beneficial to all of us. The fourth indicator annually assesses board performance and commits to training necessary to improve own performance. This was rated very strong. We had one rating of 3, and 6 of you rated this as 4. And the comment, we had one comment, we need structured time to examine and establish our core governance responsibilities. The next section, section 6, again was rated very strongly. It came out as a 3.64 rating. All the indicators were 3s and 4s, except number 4. We'll get to that, which had 1, 2 rating. So the first one in this policy development section develops sound written policies and maintains an up-to-date organized policy manual, which provides ready access to each policy. We had 2 of you rate that 3 and 5 of you that rate that 4. That's very strong. No comments. Number 2, cooperatively establishes policies with the administration for the operation of the district. Again, very strong, 2 3s and 5 4s. No comments. 3, allows appropriate input into the policy development process. Here we had 2 of you rating it as 3 and 5 of you rating it as 4. One comment. Policy, yes. Administrative regulations need work. And number 4, provides for periodic policy review and revision when appropriate. And here we had one board member that rated this a 2, 2 that rated it as 3, and 4 of you rated it as 4. The last section is goal setting and planning. Again, this was rated very well, all 3s and 4s on each indicator. You were really together in your thinking on these, and you had a 3.51 average. The first one in this section is establishes clearly identified district goals annually based on the assessed needs of the district and the recommendations of the superintendent. This was a 3.71 rating. 2 board members rated this as 3, and 5 of you rated it as 4. I had a couple of comments. It's likely time to re-evaluate facility goals. And the second comment was LCAP provides a detailed action plan with clear goals. It would be beneficial to keep this document alive by consistently reviewing it throughout the year. The second indicator is monitors annually the implementation of district goals. Here, 3 of you rated this as a 3, and 4 of you rated it as a 4. One comment, how can we more effectively and efficiently provide support to the district on an ongoing basis and at the same time hold the district accountable with a continuous learning focus? Indicator number 3, establishes clearly identified board development goals based on the outcome of the board's self-evaluation. 3 of you rated this as a 3, and 4 of you rated it as a 4. One comment, this may be a good time to revisit our governance principles, norms, code of ethics, and protocols. How can we stay focused on student achievement and wellness? How can we govern together as a team with a common focus and purpose? Indicator 4, plans and implements appropriate activities for the achievement of the board development goals. 4 of you rated this as a 3. 3 of you rated it as a 4. 2 comments. We have a governance calendar, but do we have a governance handbook? And do we as a board understand the meaning of moral imperative, systems thinking, strategic focus, deep learning, and manner? And our last indicator is reviews and revises annually the board's long-range plan. 5 of you indicated this should be a 3, and 2 of you thought it was a 4. 1 comment, very important that we make time to review and revise our goals and purpose. Are we continually developing a governance mindset? This will help us become a unifying force for fulfilling the moral imperative of raising the bar and closing gap for all students. So far, any questions?
Any questions? None here in the chambers. Don't know if there are any online.
Okay.
Hearing none, you can continue.
We'll continue. So really, as you can see, really you were very consistent in your scoring, and that's just really good. And actually, I would expect that, you being a really veteran board, and you've really come together well. Of the 7 categories, the highest rated category was in board meetings. And this was actually an increase over last year's rating. Your lowest category rating was board in service. And as the comments showed, that was really all related to COVID. Your responses were all related to COVID. One of the suggestions for staying engaged in current educational governance and thinking is doing a book study. And a book study really is different than a book read, where just everybody reads the same book. This has more of a focus on really zeroing in on key points and how they can be applied. Those key points can actually be applied in the context of your district. And one of the books, of course, that is promoted heavily by CSBA and is just excellent, by Davis Campbell and Michael Fullen, is The Governance Core. And it's just absolutely excellent. We're getting some requests already to do workshops on this book. And actually, Ralph Baker, Dr. Baker, just worked with a workshop for Rialto Unified on this book. So if you're interested in that, let us know. But a lot of districts are really looking at The Governance Core by Campbell and Fullen, and it is excellent, absolutely excellent, and it's a good way to stay up on things. Really, there were very few. I'm sorry.
This is Frank. Do you mind describing that? What would that look like, the workshop, if that Dr. Baker conducts, just to give an idea to the board what that looks like?
Yes. I think the way Rialto did it, the board all received copies of the book, and they all read the book. And and then they came together for a board workshop in like a retreat setting. And Ralph actually kind of walked them through the key ideas from each chapter. Also, within each chapter, looking at those key ideas, he then engaged the board and had them engage with each other on a set of questions of how to implement those ideas. First of all, what did those ideas mean, and how could we incorporate those in our district? And it was that format was very well received. Okay, any other questions?
Any questions? This is Board Member Flores. I'll just share with respect to the scores and comments around participation in various opportunities for educational training. I know I was critical. I think I was probably one of the board members that scored that a little lower. And again, yes, attributing it to COVID. Just my own personal experience, and I absolutely love in the past, over the years, the opportunities to go to conferences, seminars, being present in that moment. For me, when I'm able to do that and physically be someplace, it does a couple of things. Obviously, it puts me in that mindset, but it also makes sure I get out of the office. I'm able to get away from the distractions at work or at home. So I know that I found that a lot of the virtual opportunities, while they're still great and we appreciate the opportunity to attend virtually, it's a little more difficult for me to stay focused. I've opted not to do many of those because I would either have to sit at home and do that from home where there's lots of distractions, or try to carve out time while at the office. And obviously there's a ton of distractions while you're at the office. So I would, again, it's not a complaint. That's just a reality of living in a world in a pandemic. So I know that as things change, hopefully, and we see more of these seminars and conferences and come together and start to happen again, I'll certainly start to participate more. And it's also a great chance to spend time with each other, to network, to bond a little bit, and really step out of the day-to-day and start asking questions and exploring opportunities that are unique. So anyway, that's just my take on some of the scores that I gave, because I think I was a little bit on the lower end on that end. Sure. Board Member Fuentes, please.
Yes, I just wanted to kind of jump on that too. I did attend some of the virtual conferences this past year, and it was not the same.
No.
You got to go to different sessions. It was good. It was good because you got some real good information, especially on the pandemic and all of that. But it's not like when you actually go to the conference or you're actually looking at the person in live, and you're actually getting the information. You sometimes even have materials available for you to bring back and to continue to analyze and to continue to study. But I did attend some of those, and I was probably one of the ones who probably put a 3 on there. But I think Dan is correct. It is tough. It is tough sitting at home for 8 hours, 4 hours on the computer, even though they give you a break. I probably did maybe 2 or 3 of them. I didn't do all of them, but it was tough, because then you had the distractions of, they know that dad is home, and so I had the girls, dad this and dad that. So it's totally different. It's a total different way of learning and getting information. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Good. Folks, we also noticed in comments, there were quite a number of comments kind of spread all through the document about finding time to come together and have discussions, especially with the superintendent, and how do you do that? And I think the very best way to do that is through informal evaluations. Using the informal evaluations time, because that can be done in closed session, and those are meant to have a lot of two-way communication and discussion. That's what they're for. So you might want to really start expanding those a little bit and having a little wider range of discussions in those informal evaluations. That really is the good place to do it. So just as a suggestion. And lastly, I'd just like to finish by saying that this is really an excellent report. It shows that gosh, you're an experienced veteran board that has come together very nicely. You talk to one another. You want to talk to each other. You really see the value in that. And just the unity that you see and how close you were in how you rated and viewed all of these governance, these 42 governance indicators. You know, we don't often see that. That was really, really exceptional, and you should really be proud of all the effort and the work that you've done through the years. And I'm, you know, we feel like you'll, I'm sure, continue doing it and just continue getting better and better. So you really need to feel good about this self-evaluation.
This is Mrs. Saragin. I just want to say that I would welcome a book study with this book or any other book that would allow us to grow. You know, not because we need help, but because we genuinely want to improve as a board. You know, I have tremendous respect for my fellow board members, and I would really like the opportunity to you know, participate in a book study and come together and grow, because, you know, if we assume accountability for everybody else in the school district, why not us? You know, so I think we need to lead by example, and I would welcome learning. You know, we're here to learn and improve.
Oh, that's outstanding. And yeah, it seems the board really has a culture of wanting to improve. And you know, interestingly, Jim Collins in his book called Good to Great says in the first chapter that good is the enemy of great. And you know, if you're a good district and everything is going along fine, there can be less motivation to really put in the time and effort to be great. And he's saying, be careful about that. If you're a good, solid district, keep improving and keep the motivation going to improve, because that's how you move from good to great. I think he's right. And you guys do that. And that's really neat to see.
You know, if I may say something here, this is Board Member Fuentes. On top of what Bertha was saying on the book study, I'd like to see the informal evaluations more too. And I think like Dick was saying, that will keep us stronger. Even though we're a good team, we're a strong team, but I think if we evaluate ourselves, you know, on a, you know, quarterly or something, informally, just talk and share ideas and see where we're at, I think that would also help us grow and become stronger for our district. You know, we do this for our community, we do this for the kids, and we make sure that also our kids have that, and our community has that, a strong board that backs them up, you know, a strong team of assistant soups and district office staff and board that can support them. But I think the informal evaluations would be something great I'd like to see, plus the book study would be something great. Usually I like to read a book. I know Dr. Miranda knows that I like to read the books on leadership and all of that. And I think that's something that we need to keep doing. And if we can do something like that, that would be great. Thank you.
Good. That's all I have for you. And again, you did great. And I appreciate, appreciate the discussion and having me in tonight.
Well, and thank you, Mr. Bray. I appreciate it. I do want to take an opportunity, and this is Board Member Flores, to allow board members to speak freely and openly with respect to any of the topics that we covered, not only in the survey, but some of the other things that we've discussed in terms of the board working together, improving communication, having opportunities to, access to education, training, all admits, I will say, still trying to improve upon rolling into a new school year, still in the middle of a pandemic, still adjusting to changes in how the state wants us to conduct school, how to keep everybody safe. So this is by definition, flying the plane, building the plane while you're flying it, and trying to figure everything out. So there's a lot, and I appreciate
That's actually a good way to say it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate everybody's grace and patience through this process, but I do want the board to, particularly in this sitting, to be able to speak openly about ways that we can work together, improve, provide opportunities. I've heard a lot in some conversations with members about communication, and I would agree that communicating with the board, yes, but also the board being able to communicate to the public and the district communicating to the public and parents, because in this era, information is so important, whether it's about health and safety related to the pandemic, whether it's distance learning versus in-person instruction. Everything is new for just about every parent. Even those of us that have had kids in school for a long time, this is still new. So improving ways that we can communicate with each other, but also with the public, is certainly something that I've heard, and I think it's going to be important. But anyway, let me open it up, please. Anybody, whether it's members in chambers or board members online, feel free to chime in and share some of your thoughts about what we've talked about today, or things that you'd like to share.
Dan, I have one. Starring Ojeda.
Yes, please go ahead, Joanne.
We have so many things that have changed this school year, and the pandemic has certainly made things much more difficult. But when I look at all the changes that have happened at the school, all of the personnel changes that we've had in the cabinet level and below positions, and as a principal, I always tell my teachers that less is more. And I feel like we are a governance, I think we are a well-tuned governance board. Yes, we can do better, but I think at this point, we need to get out of the way and let them do what they need to do to become a well-polished machine. Because I think we do have a lot of issues that need to be addressed. We need to help. We don't need to give them more to do when they're trying just to figure it out on a day-to-day basis to make things work, especially in the area of communication. And I think we need to stand back and say, let them tell us, what do we need? What can we give you to make that happen more efficiently? Because I think there is some breakdown because you have so many different people in different departments and we have not worked together. And I think adding more to everybody's plate is just making it much more, a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I think until everybody gets into a position of working together as a unit, we're not going to be effective. We're just adding more, and we're not getting the result that we need to get to make us a caring district that everyone thinks that we've been. But we have some breakdowns that need to be looked at, and I think we need to give them time and not add more to their plate to get things done. So at this point, I think we need to stand back and say, okay, what do you need us to do to help you make this happen, so that we have a better and more smooth opening next school year, and that we have better communications throughout the district that everyone understands. And we can do that by supporting what we need to have done and have more conversations maybe about that. But I don't think we need to add more to anyone's plate, including ours right now. I love the book studies when we were doing them, but we were in a different place then. Right now, I don't think we have time. I don't think we need to put that on the plates of all the people who are trying to learn the jobs and learn the routines and the practices that we have had in place, and maybe need to improve them. But I think we need to just stand back and let things work their way throughout the divisions. That's my opinion.
Thank you for that, Joanne. Appreciate it. Other thoughts, comments, questions? And perhaps also where we can help as a board is identifying priorities. I'm looking now at cabinet and Dr. Miranda listening online. There are at any given time hundreds of things that need to get done in this district, and you can't be expected to do all of them at once. So perhaps one way we can provide assistance and direction, and it is our role as a board, is to help prioritize. What are the most important things, the key things that we need to focus on, knowing that we're not going to get to everything right now. There's many things, but I always say when everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So I think we need to be honest and fair to staff that when we bring all these issues, however they might come, whether it's a board meeting, whether it's through emails or text messages, that we're cognizant that we can't just keep piling things onto the plate, because pretty soon nothing's going to fit on that plate, and making sure that we're giving a priority to those items. And Superintendent, Dr. Miranda, it's okay to tell us, sure, I'm okay, I'll get this done, but see this list of 10 things you already gave me? Which one of these isn't going to get done? Because we can't do everything at once. So I think that's the ebb and flow that needs to happen with staff. So.
And I agree with you, Dan.
Sorry, Mr. Ibarra, we can't hear you online.
It's on.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Oh, I have to get real close to it then. As I was saying, I agree with Dan and his viewpoint on that. And as we start to identify the fact that we are all getting information and we're bringing it to you, Dr. Miranda, as it should be, as the board should come to the superintendent, I think that we need to be aware of protocol and how we're going to go about doing this. First of all, I think that before we do add any additional projects or activities or work to any of our other administrators, we need to have a consensus on it. We need to agree upon, just because one individual says something doesn't mean that that's the direction we're going to go on. So I really believe that it's important for us to have that in place right now. When the pandemic began, one of the things that I recall mentioning quite a few times was communication. I think that it's important that we start shoring up our communication, because, one of the things that I'm hearing is that principals are doing different things out there, making different decisions. And because it's Colton, the network is really, really tight, and it gets out. If you're not familiar with it, get familiar with it, because people call each other, they share, and people will find things out. And that's just the way it is. So we need to make sure that there's some kind of consistency and universal protocol when decisions are made, how decisions are made. And I think that we're looking at trying to solidify what's happening within our district right now. And the importance that I think we need to do is we need to get a really good handle on who's doing what and what's not getting done. Now, it's large. We have a large district, not the biggest, obviously, but it's large. So we probably need to take a look at who's responsible for what, hold them responsible for the positions that they hold. if assistant superintendents are responsible to be ambassadors to certain schools, then they should be the point person for the information funneling out of those schools to you, Dr. Miranda. And then they should also share the difficulties and the problems that they're dealing with, and so that we could work on it. The community, the parents, the students, the staff, the teachers are all relying on us to get this done right. And we're hearing it from them. And I know that it's not easy. We've been away for quite a while. We've had some difficulties with certain staff that has made it difficult for us to do our jobs or get the jobs done. But somehow we need to get the point across that this work needs to be done for our students, for our staff, and for our community. And I think that that's the leadership that this board needs to exhibit. And somehow, if we need to meet on a regular basis, if we need to put together subcommittees to assist decision-making, which we used to do at one point in time years ago, we need to really take a look at what are some possibilities, not to criticize, not to point fingers, but to help get this done. And I think that it's going to be important for us to really evaluate what we're trying to accomplish here and what we're doing. And I've always said we have a good team. We have some new individuals. You know, they jumped into the fire, so to speak, with both feet. And personally, I can't hold any of you accountable for what your predecessor promised to anybody. There's no way. But with that said, I think that if there's things that need to be addressed, we need to educate you guys on what we're hearing and what needs to be done. That's my way I approach it. You know, I need to inform you, let you know, hey, this is what's happening out there. And not blame someone for not taking care of something that was promised 3 years ago when you were not here, as an example. So those type of behaviors need to cease and stop. And rather than that, I think we need to get together as a cohesive group and work together and utilize all our talents to make this work. And, you know, we do have a lot of talented people, a lot of people who are here for the right reasons, on and on and on. And I think as a board, we need to be solid in supporting our staff. So, you know, said a little bit more than Dad did, but I was trying to, you know, get across. I think this is what we need to do. And as we make decisions, we really, really need to make decisions as a unit. We need to be together as a 7-0 group, because that's the only way we show support for our administration, our staff, our students, our community, and then move forward from there. So those are my words.
Great, thank you. No, thank you, Board Member Barr. That's great. I appreciate it. Board Member, yeah, please, Board Member Fuentes.
Board Member Fuentes, thank you, Board President. I agree with what Joanne and Dan and Frank say. I think I understand. I really, really want you know, to have this book study. I was going to say Bible study. Excuse me. This book study.
I need that too.
Yeah, we might need to. Yes. But I think our priorities. We need to look at our priorities as a board and as an executive board. What is the priorities right now? I think Dan kind of hit it on the spot. So did Mr. Ibarra. You know, I was reading analysis here, and there was a key line on here that says, "Board focusing on student learning and operational issues." You know, looking at what are we doing for our students and what are we doing for the overall district, the operations part of it. Communication is a key. We heard that a lot right now, a few minutes, working together as a unit. And keeping those book studies probably on hold for a year, maybe or so, just so we can get our priorities straight. We're a good board. Our evaluation came out really nice. We have DSDP that's going to be rolled out here pretty soon. So we're going to add another thing to their plate, which is going to be pretty difficult the way things are right now. As being part of the DSDP, we got a mission coming out, a vision coming out. We have all these other priorities that we're going to be adding to the plate of everyone, as a board, as an executive cabinet, as our district teachers and admin and everyone. I want to make sure that our priorities are straight. And I think our board, as I'm listening to my colleagues, I think they want that also. We want to make sure that we have things in order, because once DSDB gets rolled out, that's going to be another thing that we're going to really, really have to push hard. Right now, the hashtag CJUSD cares is being said a lot, not in a good way. Not in a good way. I hate to say it that way. We have people that just say, well, do you guys really care? And people I've spoken to, I've like, yes, we do. We are here as a board because we care. A lot of people are using it against us in some way. You guys don't care. But, we have to change that mentality too. Those people that are out there, it's very few, but there's a lot of people out there that are using that against us, that we don't care. But I know we care. We might not be the perfect school district. We all make mistakes. We all have mistakes, and this is how we grow. It's like that child that's learning to walk. When they fall, they get up. They hit their head on the whatever coffee table, they'll cry a little bit, but they'll get up. And they'll keep moving until they become stronger and stronger, and become this young man or young woman, that continues to walk. Even if it hits them, they continue to walk. And I think we are a board that does that. No matter what comes at us, we'll stand up and we'll move on. But we have to put our priorities straight. And I think Board President Flores put that on the spot, and so did Frank. And I think Joanne too, with letting us know. Book studies are great, but I think, I really want them too, but I think she's right. We need to hold those off for a little bit and get our priorities straight. That's my comment. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Board Member Fuentes. Other thoughts, comments from board members? Appreciate Board Member Fuentes, the comments, and I'll reiterate, because you're right. In this time, there's still a lot of apprehension. There's still fear. I send my kids to school every day. You send your children to school. Board Member Sandoval sends your children to school. Right? You're like me from Colton. You're related to half the town. We send kids, grandkids, relatives, neighbors, kids. We care. We send our kids to school every day. And I'm not going to lie, there's apprehension there. My children are of age where they're too young to be vaccinated. And while I know we're doing everything we can, I know that there's also a chance that they could be exposed. They could contract COVID. And while all statistics show that it's very likely that if they do, they'll be okay, there's still a very small chance they won't be. And I don't care who you are or where you live, when you're a parent, that 0.01% chance still keeps you up at night, right? We never want to see our children put in a position where they're sick, they're hurt, they're injured. So there's already tension by nature in opening up schools in the middle of a pandemic. And so I know folks have criticized what we've done, and we have not done everything perfect by a long shot. We've done some things really well, some things we can improve upon. But the question of whether or not we care as a district, unequivocally in my mind, when we have nurses spending their entire weekend doing contact tracing, when we have principals stepping up and doing everything and anything they can do on their school site to get it ready, when we have teachers stepping up to do things above and beyond, classified staff, we have folks doing things that are well beyond their scope. I know HR, we're not supposed to talk about that, but they are, because they care. And yes, there are mistakes and yes, there are challenges, but do I believe that as a whole, the people that work for this district care about their job, care about the community, and care about their kids? Yeah, they do. I care. We care. We're here. So what do we do to make things better? And if that means focusing on some of these priorities, next regular board meeting, I believe we have a presentation on, we'll call it COVID. It's really everything from protocols on noticing, exposure, to communication. Quite honestly, we also have this state mandate hanging over us with respect to vaccinations for all staff that work for school districts that we really haven't gotten into, and how that's going to roll out and what it's going to look like for our staff. And that includes conversations with our bargaining units, our unions. So there's a lot to tackle there. So I'm perhaps.
President Flores?
Yes, please.
Can I just add something?
Yeah.
Okay, so as a result of this meeting, our task, what I'm hearing, is how do we move forward to get our priorities in order so that staff is clear on what the expectations are. So where do we go from here? What's our next step?
I think that's a great question. What I hope that we can achieve at next meeting is not just an informational presentation, but an opportunity for us to identify and prioritize. These are the things we think we really need to focus on, and you have our support and direction to go and focus on these, and what resources might be needed. Do you need to bring budget items back? Do you need to bring procurement items back? Do you need to bring items back with regard to personnel, addition, changes in positions? So I think we'd like to see some action from this board and direction given at the next meeting to help prioritize and give you something that you can work with as staff and not feel like we're just throwing a ton of stuff at you and you're not sure where to start. So again, Dr. Miranda, I know that's a tall order, but if we could, our job is to help give direction, vision, and set priorities. And really that's what we should be doing. And I think the next meeting, we take the opportunity to do just that for all of the things that we've been talking about. If the board is prepared, willing, and wanting to do that we have a priority list that we give some direction and set a priority for how to address these things that have been the topic of discussion for the past few meetings, quite frankly. Is that fair? I know we've got board members on live. See nodding heads here, but I know we have board members online. I want to make sure folks online get a chance to chime in. Or
President Flores, can I say something?
Yes, please.
Okay. We used to have that list you are talking about. And I believe Katie was the one who took the notes when things were asked for at a board meeting. And we received regularly on a weekly basis. There was a copy of the list and it had columns, and the columns said that they were working on it, it was completed, or what day it was completed, or it was in the process of being completed. I mean, we did this before, and I don't know why it stopped. So I think this is a good idea because it will keep people accountable to getting things done.
No, I agree. And it keeps the board accountable because, like I said, when we have that defined list, you can't just go add stuff to the list. We have to say, hey, we're focused on the list. If we want to make an adjustment, that would be the full board would come back and make that decision together. Hey, this might be coming off the list to put something on, but it's a decision we'll make together as a board. So I think you're right. It holds everybody accountable on both sides, which could be really helpful.
Well, back then, nothing came off the list, just things were added. And the way they came off the list is when they were completed. So I just think and it was from the smaller things to, larger things. And, we would get like I said, we would get an update. We could do it weekly or bi-weekly, whatever. But we used to get an update when things were completed.
Yeah, and that would be helpful because sometimes we're not aware of a project being completed until well after the fact. So that could be helpful. Okay.
Board President Flores, I'll just say this, that I'm pleased to let the board know that we do keep that list, that board log. In fact, this morning we went over it perhaps, and that's definitely something that I'm hearing loud and clear from the board about communicating that to the board and what has been done. It's a pretty extensive list that we go over, and we certainly can provide an update in not only board correspondence, but also, if the board pleases, take a look at that in some kind of board presentation. But we do have it. It hasn't gone away. I just think that is, and to Ms. Harrow's point, the board needs to be updated on a regular basis. So that is something that we need to do a better job of, and that is on me. So, but we do have it, and I'd be more than pleased or to set it, put in board correspondence to the board, so you guys can get a good update of what we're working on and what we're doing.
That would be helpful. And along those lines, Dr. Miranda, with respect to, and I appreciate you stepping up and acknowledging the responsibility that you have. I believe we actually do have a scheduled superintendent evaluation coming up. So that's another opportunity for us to talk about ways to communicate internally, keeping board abreast of projects and programs that are taking place. So it's all interconnected. So if then it sounds like we have some direction and consensus here that at the next meeting, really what we're looking for is an opportunity to, yes, to be informed about all of those issues related to COVID and the reopening. But if the agenda could be crafted in such a way that we can give that direction as a board and establish a priority list, and you can share with us some of those things that are happening, because it sounds like there is a list, but we haven't seen that in a little while, so we can utilize that list to ensure that we all stay focused on the priority projects and things that we want to see get done. And, attach timelines to those, resources needed. Again, it's something that helps all of us stay focused, because it's very easy, again, speaking for myself, but I think all of us have had this experience. It's easy for other people to want their issue to become your issue. And when you get contacted by lots of folks that say, this is the most important thing, and we want to help everybody and we will do our best. But again, if we keep throwing things at staff, next thing what you end up with is you each have 12 or 15 different things that you are being asked to do, and you can't do all of times 7 sometimes, and you can't do all of them at once, clearly, not successfully. So does that sound like something that we're able to do, Dr. Miranda, for the next board meeting? Craft that agenda item in such a way?
Board President, absolutely. We could work on that and put some together and get that. In fact, I know we have a meeting Thursday, and we can give you we get a little bit more direction from you, but in terms of what that looks like. But yep, we will definitely start working on that.
President Flores, could I make a comment?
Yes, please.
One of the things that I'm hearing, and because we're having the COVID presentation next week, one of the things, particularly on social media, I'm hearing parents saying that the way they're handling communications with families are different from one school to another. So I'm assuming that will be part of the presentation next time. But can we have specific information as to how parents are notified in each individual case, so that it's the same across the school district, so that will take some of the fear away that parents are experiencing, at least the way from what they're saying on social media, because I think that would be very helpful. And what are we sending to parents? Are we giving them an update on what's happening? I know things change periodic, day to day, but the most current information and what parents are receiving, I think would be very helpful and take some of those fears away. So if we could include that, I would appreciate it. Maybe it's already included. I don't know. Thanks.
Yes. You're getting the thumbs up here from staff, so absolutely. Right. Other thoughts, comments from board members? Anything that we want to add? Okay. Is there, Dr. Miranda, anything that you'd like to add?
Well, yeah, yes, Board President. Well, I'd just like to thank the board for your dialogue and your comments and your just your vulnerability and also your direction. I think it's important for us as staff, as you're as superintendent and staff, to listen to the board and Honestly, we have worked, we're working tirelessly to meet the needs of the community. You're out there in the community, and we understand that. And we want to do everything we can to improve. And like Dick said, go from good to great. There's a lot of areas that need improvement, and we are here to serve the board's needs and provide the most current information. So I appreciate the board's honesty, and we will certainly put together the presentation is being worked on, and yes, Ms. Thornaheda, that'll be part of the presentation, and we will put some together and hopefully provides clarity, and we can get some direction with the board. That I think that we appreciate that, and again, thank you for your honesty and vulnerability in this process. So it is a growth process for us too. We are learning, and like President Flores said, we are building the plane as we're flying it. Again, I don't know how many planes we can build here, but we are definitely trying to build another plane and another plane. We are empathetic of our staff, of our principals, of our teachers, and we are very compassionate individuals that are here to serve the needs. I trust me when I say that, serving 14 years in this district or almost 14 years and long educator, we are here to serve all of you. And I'm here to humbly serve the community and do whatever it takes so that we meet the needs. But we want results, and so that's what we're about. So we're going to get it done, and we can always get better and do better, and we will. So thank you, Board President.
Thank you, Dr. Miranda. I appreciate that. And I want to thank Dick for your time again and facilitation of our board self-evaluation. This is always an important exercise that we do on a regular basis. Look forward to when we can all be in the same room. I think that helps a little bit, but I appreciate everybody being available online and for the conversation, because I think this is an opportunity for us to really focus and get better, as every opportunity we want to improve. So with that, and Dick, do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, just thank you. It's always great having a chance to be with you guys. Much appreciated.
We appreciate it, and we know that I'm sure we are deep down your favorite school board and favorite school district. So we appreciate you taking the time to work with us. Your experience and perspective always helps enrich our growth as a board. So we really appreciate that. So thank you for that, and then thank you for everybody for joining virtually. We don't have any other items left on the agenda. So at this time, unless there are any final comments, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. So we are adjourned right at 6 o'clock. There you go.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Dick. We will talk soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotta get, put that on the priority list. We're fixing the clock.
Good
For
night.
sign language interpreters, thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're done.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I've been all right with something else.
Take care.
I hear you. Or I don't know if I shared, I told Frank